Hey guys, Casual Outdoorist here. Today we're talking about hiking shoes. I have a couple of different styles I have with me today. This is a Keen hiking shoe. This is just an old work boot. This is going to substitute in for my backpacking boot. And I have Vibram 5 Fingers. These are for your minimalists. So when you're looking for a hiking shoe, what you need to consider before anything else is what kind of activities are you planning on doing? Are you only doing hiking? Are you doing backpacking? If you are doing backpacking, how heavy is your pack going to be? Are you the person that carries a 60-pound pack no matter what? Are you a minimalist? And if that's the case, that's really going to affect the stiffness of the sole you get for your hiking boot and the kind of hiking boot you end up getting overall. The other thing you need to consider is what seasons are you planning on hiking or backpacking in? Are you a 3-season camper? Are you a only wintertime camper? Do you go year round? If that's the case, you're planning on needing 2 pairs of boots, one for wintertime and one for the other 3 seasons. You also need to consider the trail conditions you're going on. Are they rocky trails? Are they sandy trails? Are they muddy? Are they wet? Are you going through a lot of streams? If you're going through a lot of streams, you're going to want to get a boot that's very waterproof. The best waterproof boots out there are full grain leather. The biggest drawback to full grain leather boots are they are not as breathable as some of the newer boots out there that use Gore-Tex or Keen Dry or whatever in-house version of that companies have. Once you decide what your activity is, you still need to decide what kind of ankle support you want. Now, when you go with a low-cut boot like this, there's not a lot of ankle support, which means it's much easier to roll your ankle when you're stepping down on a rock or off a ledge or even up. Especially that risk goes up when you're carrying a pack with any weight in it. That's why you see most people tend to wear a 4 or 6 inch hiking boot when they get their hiking boots, but it's all personal preference. You need to know what the risks are and you need to know your personal preference. I prefer lower boots or higher boots. I don't like the ones that sit right on my ankle bone. They drive me nuts. So for my own comfort, I go with a lower or higher cut boot. The preference is yours. You have to be comfortable when you wear these. I'm talking about comfort, you need to make sure they fit properly. The best way to check for a fit is you need to have an inclined board to stand on. Most outdoor stores do have something like this. The store I worked at, we had a piece of plywood constructed together that gave you a nice incline to test how your toes will ride in the front of the boot when you had weight on your back or just your own weight. And you have to step up on something at least a foot to a foot and a half high to check how your heel is going to come up out of the back of the shoe, because you don't want your heel rubbing. When your heel rubs, you'll get a blister and you'll be miserable. So I'll show you what I have right here. Now you step down on the incline, your toe is going to slide forward a little bit, but you don't want all your weight pressing on the front of the boot. If all your weight is pressing on the front of the boot and it's sitting right here and you can feel your toes curling up, well, that boot is too big for you and you need to go down a size, or you need to try to tighten up a little bit if it's supposed to be the right size. Your toes your whole foot was going to slide up in the boot a little bit, but you don't want it to slide so far up that you can feel all the weight on your toes. You'll lose a toenail, you'll be miserable, you'll be cranky, your feet will hurt. There's something to try to avoid. The other thing to check, again, is how your heel rides. You want your heel coming up out of the boot when you're walking or going up ledges or climb up rocks. So you can check with this as well. And all you're going to do is you're going to step up. Just do it a couple times. And all you're doing there is checking to see how your heel rides. If your heel comes up at all, see if you can tighten up the ankle a little bit. If not, you might need to try a different boot that fits better on your ankle. Now, every manufacturer on all their boots, every boot's a little different, the cut's different, it's going to fit your foot differently. So you might be really big on one brand boot. You had a boot you liked, they got rid of it, you find something else similar to it but it doesn't fit the same way the other one did, try another style boot, because every style boot will be different on your foot. Now Keen has these straps that are designed to crush the ankle box around your heel to help avoid that problem. This particular shoe has it right in the last lace area for the shoe. Excuse me. Some of their other shoes have it, one or two down from the top. It's not right at the top. So that does change how the boot will feel in your foot overall. Because if it's further down, it's going to put more pressure here and not so much pressure right at the top of your ankle, even though it's helping to crush us in. So you got to, try around, play around the store a little bit, see how it feels, see if you can minimize the movement of your ankle in the shoe. Now your heel's gonna come up just a tiny bit, but you don't want excessive rubbing. That's when you get the hot spots, that's when you get blisters, and that's bad. The other thing to consider and keep in mind when you're trying on your hiking boot is, are you planning on wearing wool socks with it? If you are, make sure you take a pair of your own socks with you, or pick up a new pair of socks there to try on with the boots. You want to try the boots on the exact same way you're planning on hitting the trail with. If you're going to wear a very thick wool sock, make sure you take a thick wool sock with you, or find a thick wool sock there to try on with the boots. If you plan on wearing thin socks, well then take that with you. However you plan on hitting the trail, where you plan on wearing with those boots when you take them, that's how you need to try the boots on. Also, best time to buy new socks is when you buy new boots. New socks and new boots go great together. You get the best amount of padding from the socks and the boots. It's the way to go. The other thing you need to consider when trying on your shoes for a fit is the time of day you want to try them on. Now, everyone's feet actually swell up by the end of the day. You're on your feet all day long, they flatten out a little bit. So the best time of day to try on the new hiking boots is at the end of the day. You've been working 8 hours, you've been out for about 10 hours, go to the store, try them on. Your feet will be a little bit bigger, so you know how your feet are going to feel at the end of the day when you're on the trail. Once you get them on, and you find the right fit, keep them on for 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Walk around the store, look at some other stuff. At the end of the 15-20 minutes, see how your feet feel. If they still feel good, great, because that means your feet will still feel good at the end of the day when you're wearing those. Do your feet already hurt after 15 minutes? They're not the shoes for you. It's better to try them then than on the trail. Most stores have a zero return policy on shoes worn outside. You can wear them in your house, but as soon as it looks like they've touched dirt or asphalt and they've gotten a little scuffed up, most stores will fight you on taking those shoes back. So it's best to try these things in the store. Keep them on as long as you can in the store. See how they feel. So once you get your new boots, I know you're going to be anxious to try them out on the trail, but you need to break them in. You never want to wear new boots on the trail. Your feet will hurt. You'll get blisters. I don't care how well they fit in the store. It's not a good idea. Shoes break down over time, break into the way you feel, the way your foot moves. Like, excuse me. This has a lot of flex to it now. It did not have that much flex to it when I bought it, but I've had these about 2.5 years. It's molded to the way my foot moves. These shoes are very comfortable at this point. I can hike on almost anything with minimal discomfort because these just move with my foot. These boots are much stiffer. They don't move as well. These are better for support when you're carrying loads like backpacking. But they take longer to break in, and they're not as comfortable until they are fully broken in. The rubber does loosen up, the leather loosens up, the material loosens up right where your foot flexes. So the best way to break any kind of hiking boot or hiking shoe in is if you have a trail, a short trail near your house you can hit, throw them on, go for a walk on the trail, go for a walk around the block. If you're going to go to the store for a quick run in, half an hour, put your shoes on, take them with you, break them in slowly. Build up the amount of time you wear them gradually for a couple weeks, and by the end of 2 or 3 weeks, they'll be ready for you to hit a real trail for a full day experience with them. And by that point, your feet will thank you because they will be broken in, and it'll be more like your foot was actually made for the shoe. Now, I showed you my 5 fingers earlier. These are for the ultra minimalists, people that want to feel connected with nature when they're on the trails. A lot of people do not like them for various reasons. I personally do like them. I do wear them on trails. I don't wear them when I'm carrying a pack, unless it's a very light pack that only has a couple bottles of water in it. There is zero support on them. There is no arch support. There is no ankle support. But you do feel everything. You feel the texture of the mud you're walking on. You feel the sand. You feel the twigs. You feel everything. So they're a good way if you want to feel connected to the nature on that trail. And what some people call earthing, excuse me, you turn off your electronics, you go barefoot. And if you don't want to go barefoot, this is the next best thing to going barefoot while on the trail. Or if you're going to be walking around a campsite and you want a very lightweight shoe, they're a good way to go because they literally weigh a couple ounces each. So that being said, guys, choose your boots wisely. Check the fit numerous times in the store. Don't be afraid to ask the salesperson many questions about the boots, as many as you need to. Don't be afraid to go grab a pair of socks off the display shelf and throw them on and try them on with your boots. Because the best thing you can do is check your boots with the socks you plan on wearing. So, enjoy, guys. Get outside. Leave any comments and questions below. I will try to answer them. And please like these videos. Thank you, guys.